I want to talk about a couple of things to keep in mind when it comes to how exactly we do our drills. So the first thing is that a lot of the drills that we do are off of this bag right here. Okay? So when it comes to drills, we want to decrease the difficulty as much as we possibly can. We just want the hitter to focus on what their body is doing and trying to implement some of these changes that we're talking about. Okay? And so it's very hard for the hitter to think about what their body is doing and then also think about the ball. It just becomes really difficult. And so we try to do our drills either on this bag, or if you don't have a bag, you can do it off of a tee. But that's what we recommend. Now, this bag that I have right here, I think it cost me like $100, maybe a little bit more. You might be able to find a used one online. It's basically just like a kickboxing bag. But you can really use anything. You can use like an old punching bag or boxing bag, whatever you want to call it. You can tape up or put a pillow around a pole or something, right? So there's a bunch of different ways to do it. If you can't do any of that, just use a tee, okay? But make sure, I always stress to the hitter, I say, I don't care about the result. I don't care where the ball goes if you are hitting a ball. I just want you to focus on the process. A lot of players, they'll hit a couple of balls off the tee, and if they don't square it up because, they're thinking about what I'm telling them, they get frustrated. And then all of a sudden they go, well, forget about these swing changes. Let me just go back to doing what I normally do because I think I can square the ball up better if I just think about the ball. All right? And that's great, but that doesn't accomplish what we're trying to accomplish, which is instilling different movements in the body. Okay, so I always stress that first. Who cares where the ball goes? I don't care if you swing 100 times and miss 100 times. It doesn't matter. Eventually, you're going to be able to build in these movements within your body, and then you won't even have to think about it anymore. Then you can go back to thinking about the ball. But until we change what we're trying to change, who cares what the results are? All right, that's the first thing. It's really important. Second thing is videotaping. So we videotape a lot. Not that we videotape every single swing, but I always say that feel and real are never the same. So the hitter may feel like they're doing something, but they're not really doing it. And so you need to be able to have a way to give instant feedback to the hitter. So we videotape a lot during our lessons. So we'll do a round, and then we'll go back and look at the video and show the hitter, okay, this is what you were trying to do. This is what you actually did. The other thing is hitters will oftentimes, they think they're making this huge change, and they really are making almost no change at all. It's really not even noticeable on the video. And so I want them to see, okay, you thought you were doing this, but look at it. This is how much you changed. It's really nothing at all. And then they go, wow, I've got to really, really exaggerate this movement if I want to make a bigger change. So that's really, really key, the exaggeration part of it. But they won't really fully understand it unless they're able to see it through video. So it's really important, the video. We use an app called Coach's Eye, which is I think it was $5 when I bought it. I don't know if it still is, but it's really cheap and easy. You can slow the swing down, you can save your swings, you can do a bunch of stuff with it. So you might want to check that out. Okay, the other few things, and then we'll get into it. So there really is no perfect drill. So the drills that I'm going to give you, these drills are drills that I find allow us, it allows us to put the hitter in a position where they can really feel something, where they can really focus in on a certain parts of the swing and feel it, and that will help engrave those movements quicker. Now, with that being said, there really is no silver bullet. There's no magic potion, right? And every drill can be done wrong. So I see people a lot that see some of my drills, and then I'll see them doing it online, or they'll shoot me a video, and they're doing it incorrectly. So maybe they set up kind of close to the right way, but they don't fully understand the drill, and so they think they're getting a lot out of it, but they're not. So the key is to do the drill I'm going to tell you exactly how to set up and exactly what your thought process is in all of these drills. And it's key to make sure that they're done just that way, okay? So we'll get into all that in a minute again. But just make sure, that's, again, where videotape comes into play, is you can go back and watch and make sure that the drill is actually being done the exact way that it's supposed to be done. Because every drill can be done improperly, and you'll get no benefit from it. The last thing I'll say is, you're going to notice in the drills that I'll have different grips. So in this one right here, I've got a split grip. So we use the split grip to feel the turning of the knob, to get the palm, the top arm or the top hand palm up and the bottom hand palm down. And in my experience, it just gives the hitter a little bit better feel of kind of turning the barrel and getting into that palm up, palm down position. Now you can do this split grip on any drill, okay? So I don't videotape all of our drills in every single different type of grip that you can use, but you can use this literally in any drill, okay? So that, just so you have an understanding of that. We also do a regular grip, all right? So we do our normal grip with every single one of our drills. Now the bat, this bat right here is just a skinny trainer bat, but I just happened to grab that on this drill because it was sitting next to me, okay? So don't feel like you need to go out and get this bat. You can do all these drills with a normal bat. You don't need this skinny training bat right here. The other thing that we do use, which I'll get into in another video, is a PVC pipe. And we use the PVC pipe for a couple of different reasons, and you can use a PVC pipe pretty much on any drill that we use this bag. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But those are really the three things we use for most of the drills. We'll go PVC pipe, we'll go regular bat, split grip, and then we'll go regular bat, regular grip. All right, so there's kind of an overview on the drills and my thoughts. Now let's get into the actual drills themselves, and we'll explain exactly how they're all done. Okay, so now we're trying to take the feeling of the coiling drills that we did, and we're now getting into closer to a normal stance. So we're almost in a normal stance. We're trying to take those exact movements, those feelings that we created from those drills, and now we bring our front leg into the equation. But we don't go exactly into a real swing just yet. So what we do, I call this the hover drill. We're going to keep our feet close together, so a little closer than normal. And I'm going to feel like when I pick this front foot up, that I'm going to keep it off the ground as long as I can, okay? So we're trying to now, again, we're trying to put those same feelings in from the drills where we had no front leg. And we're trying to figure out, okay, how do we now do those same things but have a front leg? And so in this drill, I start the player kind of light on their front foot again. All right, because I really want to focus the rear leg and loading the rear leg properly, okay? So when we pick up the front foot, I'm going to coil as much as I can. I'm going to turn my back pocket towards the pitcher. I'm going to pull back, and I'm going to try to keep this leg loaded. And I'm going to try to stay pulled back with my elbow behind my hands as long as I can. So my goal as I'm moving out here is to continue to hover the ground. Keep my front foot off the ground as long as I can. And to help me do that, I've got to stay coiled and I've got to stay pulled back, because that will keep me loaded back here. So I continue to coil and I continue to pull back and I continue and I continue and I continue. So you can see nothing has changed here. I've stayed in good posture. My hips have stayed hinged out. My chest has stayed over. I've stayed pulled back. I've stayed coiled. I'm still coiled. I'm still coiled. And then right as the front foot's about to go into the ground, you're going to see my rear leg starts to turn. Right as it's about to come into the ground. I know it disappears behind that pad, but right as it's about to come into the ground, you see my rear leg start to turn. And the same exact thing happens with the upper body. My torso tilts back. I'm trying to turn my palm up, palm down, and I'm trying to turn this triangle. So you're going to create that same stretch. Rear leg turning this way, upper body tilting back. Knob gets turned up quickly. The lead arm works up, the rear arm works under, and now the barrel can work back, and it's going to be able to turn up into the ball. I'm able to get in the zone really deep. I'm behind the ball, or in this case, the bag. and I hit. But the key to the whole thing is, again, start the feet closer together than normal and get the hitter comfortable now with not just relying on the front foot getting down really quickly, but to really hover the ground. Hover, hover, hover. Exaggerate the loading of the back leg or the rear leg. Stay coiled and pulled back as long as you can and continue to do so as you move out. You should feel that stretch continue to build as you're moving sideways. So as I pick up, I coil, and as I move out, I continue it. I continue to let the stretch build. Do not lose the coil and do not lose the pullback. Front foot up, and they lose the coil and they lose the pullback, and everything wants to go forward. But we've got to be able to transition all the good things we did from the coil drills into a drill where we start to implement a stride and start to implement moving forward a little bit. And just tell the hitter to go as slow as possible. Slow, slow, slow. This is exaggerated movements because I want them to feel what it feels like to really get around the back leg, and you have to keep it there for a really long period of time. You can't lose it until the front foot's about to get into the ground, and then you let the right leg or the rear leg turn. You can't lose it until the rear leg turns, and then the foot's going to hit the ground. Okay, and now the next drill is the exact same drill. The only difference here is we put a crate underneath their front foot. So some hitters, if they struggle with the coil, with the hover drill, if they have a hard time feeling like they can hover and get around the rear leg, well, then we put a crate there. And almost always, if they struggle with the hover drill, when we put the crate there, it helps them. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a crate. It can be a box, a shoe box, or just any box. Anything where they can basically put their front foot on, but they're not going to put their weight on it or else it's going to break. Okay, so for some of the younger players, we might use a shoe box. For the older players, this crate right here, it won't technically break if you stand on it, but you can feel yourself starting to kind of push through it. And so that just gives them, again, the feedback to say, okay, I want to stay very light on this. I want to be able to really feel my rear leg. Now, the other thing is, because it's a little bit higher off the ground, we tell them, now control your weight. As you step off this thing, I don't want you to just fall forward. I want you to control your foot off of the crate. All right, so it's the same thing as the hover drill. Literally the exact same thing. We're just going to have a crate there. Now, me personally, it's weird. I don't do the drill as well with the crate for some reason. I do it better when I'm just hovering. But a lot of the young players like the crate. Okay? So you can experiment and see, does the crate work better? Does just the hover drill work better? It's just another, I want another option for players if they struggle with the hover drill. You can see me, I'm trying to coil. I want to try to stay coiled, continue to coil all the way until my front foot's about to get into the ground. Stay pulled back. That's going to keep everything back and not let everything fall forward. And again, the other thing I wanted to show is you can do the drill off a bag. You can do the drill off a tee. You can even do the drill off a front or side toss or a front toss down the road, like way down the road. It just gets a little harder because as a flipper, you got to kind of time everything up. And it becomes harder for the hitter because they've got to really control it. So I have the hitter pick their foot up as I swing my arm back, and then they've got to control it. They've got to really hover the ground for a long period of time because now they've got to time the ball up also. So that's a difficult drill. I would start off, obviously, like I said, with the tee and off the bag. But really, really, really good drill to be able to transition from kind of all those other coil drills where our body isn't in the exact same position as we normally would be, right? It's easy to get around the rear leg when we just basically cut the rear leg off. But what happens when we bring the the front leg into the equation? Can we still get around the rear leg? Can we still load it properly? Can we stay coiled and pulled back as we now have a forward move and a little bit of a stride? How well can we do it? Can we continue to build that stretch as we're striding and not lose it the second we pick our front foot off the ground and start to move forward. Really, really key. Okay, so we're going to start off here with the coil drill. Now, this is probably my favorite drill to be able to feel so many of these movements that we're trying to instill in the hitter. And so what we do is we're going to start with our toes facing the pitcher, okay? So just act like the pitcher's kind of out here straight ahead from me, and toes are going to be straight. And then what we're going to do is we need to make sure that the weight is over our rear foot, our inside leg, excuse me, on this drill. All right, so I'm going to go on the toe of my outside leg. I almost want to feel like I don't even have an outside leg. Literally, I have 99% of my weight on my rear leg, and I could do this drill just taking my outside or front leg off the ground, but it does become a little bit harder for younger players to do it. And so what I tell them is just I'm on the toe, but I'm kind of bouncing up and down on the toe there because I want to remind myself no weight on the outside leg. All right. So my foot, my rear foot stays completely straight the entire drill. It's like somebody took a stake and drilled it right through my foot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to coil. My first goal is I'm trying to coil around that rear leg. So my foot stays still, and I'm starting to turn this back pocket right here towards the wall, right? So that's that feeling of getting the rear leg loaded. So I start to coil my hip right here. So back pocket starts to turn. At the same time, I'm pulling back. All right, so I'm getting my elbow behind my hand. I'm keeping it there, and I'm pulling back, pulling. As I'm coiling, you can see I'm starting to get in good posture. My butt is out, so I'm hinging my hips back and getting my chest over. But again, my foot has not moved anywhere. So I can really feel when I get coiled, right? And my hips are coiled around this leg, I can really feel that. You go to the point until, every hitter's a little different. And so some hitters may only be able to get to right here. Some may be able to get to right here. Some can get even further. But you'll be able to feel when you kind of come to that end range of how much you can actually coil around your leg. The important part is to get to that point. A lot of hitters in this drill, they only get to about right there, and they can get more. So really keep trying to turn that back pocket as far as you can, not to the point where you feel uncomfortable, but you'll know when you kind of get to that end range. And you feel that back rear leg is completely loaded now. All right, so I'm coiled around that leg. I've pulled back to where my elbow's still behind my hands. My shoulder's slightly closed. I'm in good posture. And now I'm ready to launch the bat. Okay? Still, I have no weight on the outside foot. The number one issue I see with this drill is that there's too much weight on the outside foot. They forget that they're just focusing strictly on the rear leg, and they get a lot of weight on the outside leg, and then the drill kind of starts to fall apart from there. All right, so we're really trying to create that feeling of just getting loaded around the rear leg and almost not even having a front leg in this drill. Okay, now once we get into this position, all that happens is our right leg, or rear leg, our rear leg is going to turn us. So this rear leg is going to turn, and when this rear leg turns, we're going to do three things with the upper body. We're going to tilt back. So this big chunk of our upper body, our torso right here, is going to go back. So our shoulders work, and upper body works a little bit more in like a north-south direction instead of just rotating. So upper body tilting back. While that's happening, we're trying to get palm up, palm down really quickly. So the knob starts to turn really, really deep. Trying to get the knob to go up before I go out. So I don't want to go out to the bag. I want to get this knob turned up as quickly as I can. And then the third thing is that you see this area right here, whether you call it the triangle or a box or whatever you call it, that starts to turn. So my upper body's tilting back, I'm getting palm up, palm down, and I'm turning that triangle. You can see my lead arm is working up and my rear arm is working under. And when all this happens, the rear leg is turning this way, and the upper body, the hands are turning, the triangle's turning, that's all going back this way. You're creating that stretch. So the leg's trying to turn this way, the upper body's going that way. You're putting even more stretch on the body, and then the barrel whips around. You also see the barrel working back, right? Because the barrel is going to oftentimes do what the knob does. If the knob turns up, the barrel goes back. Right? So that's how I get the barrel to work back, and it's going to start to work down this way so it can turn up into the ball. And it gets in the zone deep. It's on path. Boom, and it hits the bag. All right? And you can see I actually come completely off of the front leg. Because there's no weight there. That's really key. All right, so I coil, I pull back, I get in good posture, and then I let my rear leg turn me as I tilt my torso back. I get palm up, palm down as quickly as I can, and I turn that triangle or box, whatever you're going to call it. So we'll do this drill. Typically we start off the bag. We'll go with the split grip. We'll go regular grip. We'll do some PVC pipe. And then we can transition to some tee. And then as the hitter gets better with it, we can implement some side toss and even some front toss when they get really good at it. And then we use it more as a maintenance drill instead of, trying to completely build in new material. Okay, from there, so that's our full coil. Now we go to a half coil drill. So in the half coil drill, we just turn our feet. So instead of having our toes point towards the pitcher, they point towards, for a righty, they point to first base, and for a lefty, they point to third base. Okay? But the drill remains exactly the same. So I do the same exact thing that I do in the full coil drill. We're just getting slightly closer to a normal stance. Okay? But I still want to feel no weight on my left leg or on my front leg. Sorry, I always say left leg because I'm a righty, but for the front leg. Okay? No weight there. Everything is coiling around here. All right? For this drill, I should feel like my knee is above my toe and my hip's above my knee. That will be an indication that I'm all around my rear leg and I don't have weight on my front leg. The more weight that gets put on the front leg, the more the hitter gets pushed, their upper body and their entire body gets pushed that way, and then you won't see them stacked as much over their rear leg. And again, these drills are exaggerations, so I'm trying to exaggerate this feeling of getting all of my weight around my rear leg. Okay? But everything stays the same. I try to coil. I try to get my back pocket as much as I can towards the pitcher. Now, because my feet are set up like this, it doesn't look like I can get it turned as much. It's harder to get it turned. Naturally, from this position, my rear pocket kind of faces over here. But I'm going to coil as much as I can, as far as I can. I'm pulling back as much as I can, elbow behind my hands. My hips have hinged back. My chest is over. I'm in really good position to hit here. We also tell the hitters, again, off this drill, you can do this off the bag, off the tee, off side toss. I'm doing this off the tee just to show it. We tell our hitters to try to drive the ball slightly to the opposite gap, just to work on keeping the barrel tight and from the inside, having good direction to the inside here, okay? What hitters do, typically, if they get to their front leg too much and get moving this way instead of keeping everything gathered around their rear leg, they'll end up cutting across the ball and pulling the ball too much, especially where their feet are already lined up towards, for a righty, it's your toes are towards first, but your feet alignment is more towards third base, in line with third base. And so the drill really forces you to feel an inside, more of an inside path. And so to help that, just tell them to drive the ball to the oppo gap. Now the other thing is, you notice that I really fall back on this drill. So what we tell the hitters is, both in the half coil and the full coil, is that they're standing right on the edge of a pool right here. And I tell them, feel yourself fall back into the pool. That will exaggerate this torso tilting back action. So if the hitter is falling left or falling forward, that means that their weight isn't staying around this leg as much as they should, and they're shifting to their front leg before they hit. So if they fall left, that's because they're shifting typically before they hit. It could mean they have poor posture and their body's working back this way too far. But you want them to fall towards the catcher. So I want to take my torso back towards the catcher. And again, because I'm only on one leg, I'm going to actually fall back, and that's fine. That's part of the exaggeration again. A lot of hitters, first time they do this drill, will fall forward because they don't take their upper body rearward. They don't take this back. They take it forward in the same direction that they turn the leg. And if the leg's turning this way and the upper body's going that way, you don't create the stretch that you want. All right? So everything's the same as the full coil drill. The only difference is the feet alignment. All right? Now the third drill is very similar. Everything is pretty much the same again. The only difference now is we change the positioning of the feet again. So now we actually put the rear leg and foot into the box the same way that they normally would. But we still remove the front leg. We push it straight back, okay? So I have the hitter get into a little bit more of a narrow stance, and then I just tell them to take their front foot and just move it back about 3 feet. All right, so I'll show the drill. So it's the exact same thing. Nothing changes with how the body's going to work. The only difference is we're getting a little closer to a normal swing, but we still remove the front leg. We don't want the front leg involved. I'm on the toe. I have very, very, very little weight on that front foot. And to help me feel it even more, I need to make sure that I have good posture. My hips are hinged back, my chest is forward. Right? But now I do the same thing. So I'm trying to coil and get this rear pocket to start to turn towards the pitcher. Oops. As I'm coiling and getting around that rear leg, I'm pulling back. I get my elbow behind my hands. Right? So I'm pulling back, my shoulder slightly closes. Again, it doesn't, with the hips here, it doesn't look like I'm coiling as much because the front leg is kind of out there and it becomes a little bit tougher to see it. But I'm trying to coil my rear pocket as much as I can towards the pitcher as I'm pulling back. And then once I get in position to launch, you can see again I'm on my toe, so all my weight is really around my right leg, my rear leg. And now as my rear leg turns, I'm going to do the same 3 things. I'm going to try to get my torso to tilt back. I'm going to try to get my palm, my rear or my top hand palm up, my bottom hand palm down. So I'm trying to get the knob to go up as quick as I can. I'm trying to turn the triangle. And now you'll see the same thing. My rear leg's going to go like this, and my upper body's going to tilt back, and I'm going to create that stretch. And then the barrel's going to whip around. Lead arm works up, my rear arm works under. I come off of my front leg because there's no weight there. And because it's really out of the picture. Again, we're just trying to focus on the rear leg. Now, the only thing with this drill is this drill can really only be done off the bag because it's really hard. You can't take a full swing in this drill. The other thing is the back foot won't work exactly how it normally does, but you can see that the rear leg can still turn you. So sometimes hitters are like, oh, my back foot's not turning. Well, in this drill, it's because your foot's in this position and you have no front leg, you can only really do it to there. So that's why we just do this drill, we do swing stops, basically. You swing, make contact, you stop. You can try it in a regular, someone flipping a ball, but it gets a little harder. So I really like this drill off the bag. We have done it with moving ball stuff, but again, it's usually with a hitter once they really understand the drill and have done it a bunch off the bag. But the upper body, again, same three things are happening. Tilting back, turn on a triangle, getting palm up, palm down. Barrel's working back, and now it's going to work this way and turn up into the ball. Gets in the zone deep. Okay, so let me show you a couple in full speed. Again, I'm really exaggerating. I'm being slow. I'm feeling myself coil. I'm feeling myself pull back. I'm feeling getting into good posture. And then when I launch, it's slow body, quick hands. And I'm trying to, all in really quickly, get palm up, palm down, tilt back. Turn the triangle as my rear leg turns me. And I hit. Okay, now the PVC, couple things we do with the PVC. So the first thing is we just kind of put our hands right in front of our body, and we're just working on the feeling of getting palm up and palm down, okay? And so we just have the players, again, put it in front of their body and just feel that palm up, palm down turn. And so you can see, a lot of hitters that we work with rely on the arms too much, rely on kind of throwing the arms out at the ball, taking the knob out to the ball, instead of really using the hands to turn the barrel back or turn the knob up, however you want to think about it. And so you can see when I go palm up with my top hand and palm down with my bottom hand, the knob or the bottom of the PVC pipe goes up really quickly and the barrel accelerates down really fast, right? But down so that I can turn it down and then up into the ball, not out to where the barrel continues to go down through the ball. And this accelerates the PVC pipe or the barrel up to full speed really quickly. And so when I do this, just from right here, you can hear, I don't have the sounder right now, but when you do it, you hear the PVC pipe go whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Now, when you take it and I put it in the hands of a player that maybe doesn't have very good palm up, palm down action, and they rely more on the arms and they try to go out, when they try to do this, they can't make the PVC pipe make any noise. They have a really hard time even feeling the palm up, palm down turning of the hands. And so it's good to just get the player in sync with, what are my hands supposed to do in the swing? A lot still think that I'm just supposed to take the hands out to the ball. If you talk to most major league hitters, most elite hitters, a lot of them actually don't even know what they do that helps them become successful. But one of the things that a lot of them say, almost all of them say, is use your hands, right? Be handsy, use your hands. I heard that all the time when I was playing professional baseball. Hands, 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 hands. And I think the reason why they say that is because a lot of hitters have this feeling of, boom, instantly turning palm up, palm down, and using the hands or the forearms, whatever you want to say, turns it. But getting that palm up, palm down, boom, right there. And that's what really helps accelerate the barrel. And that's what helps you turn the barrel up into the ball. And so it's really, really important to be able to create that feel and understand, all right, what am I doing here? How am I going to get this to happen? So we do a lot of those PVC pipe turns right there. And then real quick is just kind of going through what the pullback and what the pullback looks like, getting the elbow behind the hands. But here's where I wanted to show you. When we put the PVC pipe into the drills, any of the drills, whether it's a coil drill or half coil, it doesn't matter. Any of the drills that we do when we use the bag, we'll use the PVC pipe and we'll choke up to where there's this space right here below our hands. All right, so the PVC pipe is probably around 5 feet long, maybe a little bit shorter than 5 feet long. And then we're going to choke up about a foot or so. And the reason we do that is to provide feedback for the hitter, also for whoever's watching the hitter, but really for the hitter, because when they turn and hit the bag, if they turn properly, if they get palm up, palm down, and the knob gets turned up, and the barrel is going to go down and then turn up into the ball, this part of the PVC pipe, that 1 foot part below your hands, is going to end up right up here around your forearm. It should be higher than your forearm, okay? That means that you turn the barrel or turn the bottom of the PVC pipe into the ball the right way. Now, if you do it incorrectly, if you take the knob to the ball, you push the hands to the ball, or you just get really armsy and want to go out to the ball, what happens is this bottom part of the PVC pipe ends up way down here. It actually will hit players right in the side. It doesn't really feel good, which I guess is a good thing because it'll stop them from doing it. But this will be an indication of, did you actually turn the knob up? Did you get palm up, palm down? Because if you get palm up, palm down, the barrel will do what it's supposed to do, and the knob or the bottom of the PVC pipe will end up above your forearms. So it's just really good feedback for the hitter. Plus the PVC pipe's really light, so you can do tons of reps with it and not get tired. You can really feel the action of that knob turning up, palm down, turning the triangle. And again, we do it with all of our drills. You do it off the bag. Here I'm just doing it off of air, which I guess you could do also. But if you have a bag or you have a pole, you can just put a pillow around or just have anything that you can kind of hit that's not going to snap the PVC pipe. The pipe's actually really strong. We've used the same one for a long time and it hasn't broken. But just another good way to be able to get some really good feedback and see, is the knob down here or is it up here or is it somewhere in between? And that's a really good indication of how well you're turning the barrel and getting the knob to work up and getting palm up, palm down, turning a triangle and all that good stuff. So just another way to get some good feedback.